Hey everybody, I want to say thank you for joining me on this adventure. It was quite fun. Unfortunately, we're just going to end it up on Wednesday, which is today, because tomorrow night we go watch Macbeth at the Globe Theater, and then that next morning we fly out to Heathrow, and this project is due before we fly out, so I just needed to upload it and all that. There may or may not be a bonus vlog depending on, how I feel about doing that, or if, there's enough demand. But I'd like to say thank you to a few people. Number one, I'd like to say thank you to my parents for funding this trip and allowing me to go and experience all this. Number two, I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Quinn for allowing me to use this as my project. This was pretty fun. Fun way to reminisce on experiences and kind of show people who might be interested in doing this study abroad program what it's like. And number three, I'd like to thank my travel companions for being awesome, having fun, being a bit quirky. We all did very silly things and sometimes very cringy things, but overall it was good fun, bucket of laughs. I'm happy that we were able to do all that. If I sound congested, it's because I am. Right now I'm just dealing with some allergies, so it's not really anything that big. In the background we got my boy right there. Anyway, so I just want to say, thank you guys for watching all this. Overall, I very much enjoyed England. I find it to be a very interesting country. The stereotypes are fair at times. The food isn't always salted, and the Brits are a bit snobbish at times, but they're funny. They have a good sense of humor, quick wit too, unlike most Americans. So yeah. Other than that, this program, I learned quite a bit about medieval history, a lot more than I knew beforehand. I'm sure one of my friends' grandparents would be quite proud that I learned more about British history. Overall, this was a very great experience. It's my first time out of the United States, and I had a lot of fun, a lot of learning curves, and I look forward to being back in the US. Of course, I'm going to let one disclaimer. When I get back, I only have a week until my last year of university begins. So if the uploads seem a bit infrequent, it's because I'm, back in school, back in session, all that, but I will do my best to at least upload once a week. That is the plan for now. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, for tagging along, and see you guys very, very soon. Bye. Hello and welcome back to the final vlog. On Monday, we went to Winchester, a beautiful and very ancient city, once the capital of England, allegedly. There's statue of King Alfred the Great, and here we are. We started off in a park and just kind of walked around the outside of the city walls, the old city walls, got to see the different entrances, the two entrances that still remain at this time. As you can see, there's a lovely weeping willow right there, and we got to see some of the old medieval walls that are made out of flint. And then here we got to see the some of the remains of one of the royal palaces, or the bishop's palace. At the time, it was very well preserved, incredibly preserved for the time that's dated. Here's one of the private colleges, and this is a house made out of flint. This is the house where Jane Austen died, and this is one of the crossings. I think it's King's Passage. This is the outside of the Winchester Cathedral. Very beautiful cathedral. Has the early Gothic influence on the outside. You can see by the flying buttresses. On the inside, it's a mix of Norman and Gothic. A very interesting cathedral. This plaque was dedicated to Jane Austen by, I believe, her nephew. And then this is where she was buried. She was a wonderful author. I'm a fan of her work. Here's some of the stained glass on the inside and the font that they have. This is the Norman part of the cathedral, which was in the back, near the back, right by the organ. They're repairing the organ and all that, so that's part of the reason why you see the scaffolding there, but you can tell it's Norman based on the curves. This was the, near the front, near the altar. This is where the choir sits. The tile is original. There's some of the Gothic influence you can see. And you can see right there that it's tilting over. Then after that I went to P&G Wells, which is Britain's oldest bookstore, probably. The interior was quite beautiful. I was very impressed. So if you're ever in the city of Winchester and you want to go support a local business, I highly, highly recommend going to P&G Wells. They have a lovely children's section upstairs that I didn't film for some reason. I guess I just kind of forgot to film that. They might have a small selection, according to some, but I think that they have the perfect selection. A lot of Jane Austen, so if you're a huge Jane Austen fan, I recommend going there. It's close to Chawton, which I was originally going to go to, but I didn't, unfortunately. Then here's the outside where the Old Minster was. Then we started going up to the High Street, and we made our way over to the the Great Hall, or the old castle, as it were. This is the other entrance, and you can see some of the remains of the castle that they excavated. This is the Great Hall, where Henry VIII entertained the Holy Roman Emperor, and you can see the round table that was put up there, and here's the statue of Queen Victoria. And this was the garden at the outside dedicated to one of the queens. I don't remember, I think it was Queen Eleanor, but we don't know which Eleanor they're referring to. And here is a glimpse of that. And I went to Waterstones and found this wonderful quote by Oscar Wilde. After that, I went to Trafalgar Square and hit the Waterstones over there because it's my version of bar hopping. After that, the next day, we went to Canterbury. Canterbury is, where Chaucer gets the Canterbury Tales, and Canterbury is more well known for the Archbishop of Canterbury, who crowns the king, and also the murder of St. Thomas of Becket from the knights under the orders, or not really the orders, but the annoyance of Henry II. So here we see parts of the old city near the cathedral. We were just walking around, and we found a crooked house, which was a bookshop. As you can see, it is very crooked. It was a bit dizzying, but here was the inside. It was quite nice. Again, if you are motion sick or anything like that, I recommend not going in there. But it was a lovely bookstore, lovely bookshop. The owners were really nice, or the workers at least. I'm not really sure if the owner was there. Very nice, very cordial. Books are very reasonably priced. I bought a copy of a Hardy 1970s, Thomas Hardy's 1970s edition of Two on a Tower for about £4, which was in the antiquarian section, so I find that to be a good deal. After this, we went over to the cathedral, which is undergoing some renovations. As you can see, there's the English perpendicular style at the very front, and this cathedral is a whole mix of different things, and the history of the cathedral is so rich, but I can't go into all of that right now because I'm just trying to give the rundown. But here's the cloisters, and we were actually able to go outside on the grass. We got special permission to, which you usually aren't able to do. We got to see where the Americans helped restore parts of the cathedral. We can see some of that there. This was the chapter house, which is where the monks would go and read a chapter of the Benedictine rule, because they're Benedictine monks. This is where St. Thomas was murdered. There, and you can see some of the plaques there. And then we went near the crypt. We weren't allowed to film or take pictures in the crypt, but the crypt was very beautiful. And you can see some of the Norman influences right there, and you can see this is the tomb of Henry, one of the King Henrys. You can see that candles where Thomas of Becket was ritually laid in rest. That's Black Prince's grave, and this is just some of the chapel work. So yeah, this is the exterior of Canterbury, and then that evening I went to the bar and read some Bronze Japan. The next day, today, we went to Parliament. There's a statue of Oliver Cromwell. We didn't really get to do a lot of pictures in Parliament or videos because, it's a government property, so they didn't want that. But the ceiling is very old. It's, I think, around the 11th century. This is where Winston Churchill was laid in state, where the Queen and King were laid in state, and, various plaques that kind of commemorate this stuff. Here we are. I'm just sitting there looking a little grumpy. Then we took some silly photos. Here's some of the stained glass. Here's some more of the art in the St. Stephen's area. And so thank you guys for watching this. I appreciate all the support, and I hope to see you guys next week. Bye-bye.